I never thought a few flowers would turn my quiet suburb into a war zone.
Mr.
Brenda
Henderson,
pounded on
this
my
is
door at 8
completely
in the morning
unacceptable.
like she
Your
owned the
flamingo
planet.
display violates.
Her
This is
face was
completely
flushed as she
unacceptable.
waved that
Article
bright
5,
orange
Section
violation
3
notice.
clearly states that I don't
This
care if it's
wild garden
Tuesday.
is
The
a
rules are the
disgrace,
rules,
and I'm calling
and
the
this
cops if
orange
you don't
violation
fix it.
means you are out of
I
this
stood there in
completely
my robe
unacceptable,
holding my
Mr.
coffee
Davis.
and just
We
stared at
discussed
her.
the sprinkler runoff
I
last.
had moved to Willow Creek Estates 6 months earlier for some peace after my divorce. My front yard was a riot of native coneflowers and black-eyed Susans that buzzed with bees. The scent of warm earth and honey-sweet blooms hit me every time I stepped outside. But Brenda, the HOA president, saw only chaos and lost property values. She loved her tiny throne and the way neighbors flinched when she drove by.
Could you clarify the guidelines for the oak tree trimming?
The rules are explicit in the CCNR.
She
Your
shoved
lawn
the
is an
paper at my
embarrassment
chest
to
and
Willow
sneered
Creek.
that lawns
It must be
must be
green and mowed
mowed.
by Friday. As
Her
your
voice
HOA
dripped with
president,
that
I'm just
fake
so
concern
terribly
for the
sorry
whole
to
community.
inform you that your known
I
bylaws
felt the
clearly
first
state that
twist
your
of
fence
anger,
must be
but kept
exactly
my
6
face
feet high
calm
and
and
painted in
neutral.
an approved neutral
That
tone.
was the moment I decided to play her game better than she ever could. The complaints started arriving like clockwork every single week after that. Each letter was more aggressive with bigger red stamps and late fees. I saved every single one in a folder that grew thicker by the day. Neighbors began crossing the street to avoid my driveway and my cheerful wave. I heard the whispers
he
at the
waters
mailbox
that thing
that
more
I
than he
was the
washes his
neighborhood
clothes.
slob.
And in broad
The
daylight.
tension wrapped around my chest like a slow tightening belt. Brenda started cruising past my house 3 times a day with her phone out. She snapped pictures and shook her head like I had murdered the American dream. One Saturday,
Your grass
she showed
is
up
exactly
with 2
2
board
inches
members
too high,
in matching
according to
polo
Article
shirts.
4, Section 3 of
Your
Henderson.
jungle
This
is
overgrown
attracting
jungle is
pests and
completely
ruining our
unacceptable.
standards,
It is clearly
she
attracting
announced
all
loudly.
manner of pests into
We
Willow.
specifically
Discussed the mailbox regulations at the last meeting, Mr. Henderson.
Yes, but I ordered the
state
law protect the right of
state law
homeowners to
protected
utilize
my
native plants for
but
landscaping
she just
purposes,
laughed
Brenda.
in my
Oh,
face.
that's priceless.
You're not special
he is
here,
not
buddy,
special.
she said with that sugary venom
is
smile.
not special.
Your
My
petunias
blood
are in
pressure
clear
rose, but
violation
I
of Section
smiled back
4B,
and thanked her
subsection
for the
C.
visit.
They're much too vibrant.
That night, I installed a doorbell camera and started recording every interaction. The police call came on a humid Tuesday evening when I least expected it. Sirens cut through the quiet suburb and stopped right at my curb. 2 officers stepped out looking confused by my blooming, colorful yard.
But they're
Brenda
just
stood
garden
on the
gnomes,
sidewalk,
officer.
arms
They don't violate
crossed,
any
smirking
specific
like
code.
victory was hers.
The excess vibrancy
She
garden
claimed
is
my
a
garden
health
was a health
hazard,
hazard
full of rodents and allergies.
The officers walked the perimeter, took notes, and finally shrugged at her. One cop told me it looked like a nice garden and not a crime scene.
I understand your frustration, Miss Brenda, but this is a civil matter.
Police business. I exhaled slowly on my porch, breathing in the sweet night air of my flowers. The injustice burned hot in my stomach, but I channeled it into a plan. The next weekend, I rented a heavy sod cutter and tore out every blade of grass. Sweat poured down my back as I ripped up the last of my wild garden. I ordered 20 tons of premium white sand delivered in rumbling dump trucks. The bill came to $8,400, but I paid without blinking.
I call
Neighbors
them the
gathered
Willow
on their
Creek
lawns,
Wonders.
staring in disbelief
But they're burying
at the
my
growing
prize-winning
white dunes.
petunias.
The sand sparkled under the sun like a private beach dropped in suburbia. I raked it perfectly smooth with no weeds, no grass, no nothing to complain about. Brenda's reaction the next morning was pure gold I will never forget.
I
She
cannot
marched up
believe
my
you put sand on the
driveway, her
driveway.
heels
It's
sinking into
explicitly
the
against the
fresh
Willow
white
Creek Estates
sand.
bylaws, Section 4B.
What the hell is this abomination?
Hell is this
She shrieked, her voice
abomination?
cracking with rage.
Well,
Brenda,
I
Brenda,
stood
if you look
there
at Section
calmly in
4,
shorts
subsection
and
B,
showed
it
her the
clearly states that
HOA
alternative
rulebook
landscaping
open.
is fully compliant. The
Rules
rules
say
require
the
the yard
must
to be maintained
and free of weeds,
free of weeds.
I said evenly.
this
My
can't
sand
be
had
right.
0
There
weeds
isn't
and
a
looked
single
cleaner than any
weed.
lawn on the block.
Cleanest
Your
yard
grass
is...
is
sputtered
3
and
inches too
turned
high,
redder
and this
than the
mailbox is a
violation
clear
notices
violation of
she
Section
loved so
4B.
much.
Brenda, it's just paint.
The hot sun reflected off the white sand, burning my eyes, but I didn't flinch.
This
She stormed off,
absolutely
muttering
warrants an
threats about
emergency
emergency meetings
and a new
fines.
fine. Mark my
I felt a dark little smile creep across my face for the first time.
There
I
they
kept
are,
recording
same time
every
as yesterday.
drive-by, every glare,
And then
every
I get
new
this
nasty
email.
Her big mistake came in a group blast to the entire neighborhood list. She wrote that I was deliberately sabotaging the community with my sand stunt. But one line admitted this was personal because I had challenged her from day one.
Yeah?
I printed that email, highlighted it, and felt the tide finally turning my way. I spent the next week organizing every photo, every recording, every time-stamped letter.
I organized it chronologically, highlighting the repeat incidents here. This is quite the collection. Based on this evidence, we can definitely file a cease and desist.
And maybe even a lawsuit.
There's even
I walked into the monthly HOA board
I think you'll find the comprehensive report on the drainage
issue
issue insightful.
The room smelled of stale coffee and nervous sweat from the other members.
This pattern, outlined in Section 4, clearly demonstrates selective enforcement.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
As you can see, Brenda's yard has a broken fence and these shrubs are overgrown.
That is,
I played the audio of her calling my garden a jungle in her own words.
If we look at the data on this chart, the long-term benefits clearly outweigh the
motion carries based on the votes submitted.
I object. This is completely unacceptable. We must review. And that, Brenda, is precisely why the board's proposal is fundamentally flawed.
The motion passes unanimously. Madam President, your removal is effective. But I distinctly remember approving the expenditure. It's line item 4B. Look it up. The landscaping alone.
Mr. Johnson, we've reviewed your case thoroughly. We're dropping the fine and wish to extend this formal apology.
I walked out into the bright afternoon feeling lighter than I had in months. My white sand yard still gleams under the sun every single morning now. I rake fresh patterns in it while sipping coffee and watching the neighborhood wake up. The former wild garden is gone, but the bees found new homes down the street.
How do you get
Neighbors
the lines
wave
so
again,
perfect
some
around
even
the stones?
stop by to ask about my Zen
but it's
project.
very meditative.
Honestly,
put her
can't you
house on
two
the
move
market
any
last month
faster?
and moved
We are
out in a
already
hurry.
behind schedule.
The for sale sign finally came down and a normal family
It looks
moved
even
in
better
instead.
in person.
Sometimes the sweetest revenge is following their ridiculous rules to the exact letter, and watching them choke on the expensive absurdity they forced you to create.